Today I fucked up. I was describing my senior thesis research in triple negative breast cancer and got reported for HIPAA and sexual harassment. Obligatory. This happened 2 years ago, and I still get a little bit of nightmares and regret over it. Some details of the story may have been altered to protect the identity of me, the woman who accused me, and the company that we both worked for. The general story is still the same. I graduated with a bioengineering degree from a T30 undergrad school, and I guarantee that you heard of it since it's a household name. I was on the pre-med track, however I did not end up applying to med school from the lack of clinical experience because I was too busy balancing engineering classes, pre-med classes, and senior thesis research. It was way too much for me to handle, so I ultimately decided to take a gap year to work and pay off $165,000 in student loans. I had some financial help, but it still was not enough for me. My plan was to volunteer at the hospitals on weekends and holidays while going to work full-time at a prestigious consulting and management company to pay off my student loans. The salary was large enough that I could manage my loans if I lived frugally and lived within my means. After suffering from an insane burnout almost towards the end of my senior year, I decided that I did not want to stay in a lab to get paid $45,000, $55,000 as a research tech. Instead, like most of my classmates, we went to consulting/management for $100,000, $110,000. During my senior years, my principal investigator, Pi, they are the top researchers who control the labs / assigned me to research triple-negative breast cancer in collaboration with his research with another oncologist, Pi and Abjan Pai. My Pi was a mechanical engineering/physicist. Basically, in our lab, he made me culture the cells, maintain it, grow it, and collect data on their growth. Using computer software, we would program to collect the phenotypes and morphology of the cells. Then the rest of the engineers would write machine learning algorithms based on the data collected to predict growth patterns and whatnot. These were general cells that you could purchase from Thermo Fisher. We did have to attend many lectures from the medical pies to gain more insight on the cellular process of cells and how doctors diagnose some of them. It all sounds cool and all, but the hours were long and the math was way too hard and advanced for me. As a bioengineer, I did not feel like I adequately knew enough CS, math, or physics to keep up with the rest of my lab mates. I was a bachelor's student, so I was still at the bottom. I used the CS, engineering, and math skills to apply for a consulting job and passed their coding interview to get a job as a data analytics consultant. They sent me on a retreat to get to know my new cohort of incoming employees. At this retreat, I met another fellow engineer who was also a graduate from a top school in the USA. So after introducing ourselves at a private table filled with 3 other people, we were talking about our research and backgrounds. I said I did mathematical analysis of triple-negative breast cancer cells. He said he was doing work in sustainable energy. So the other engineer and I were really talking and engaging in each other's research. There was a girl at the table and she abruptly left, shocked after telling me to shut up. We looked puzzled as to why. The next day at the retreat, I was told to get into a car to get away from the retreat and go to a corporate office where I met with HR. This was so weird to me since I didn't feel like I did anything wrong or bad to anyone since the start of the 1-week retreat. HR told me that an anonymous female felt sexually harassed, that I was talking about inappropriate things about breast cancer. It was rude and disrespectful to those with breast cancer. She also told the other girls at the retreat, and they all agreed I was going to make them uncomfortable. So I was violating HIPAA by talking about the breast cancer of girls named Stoke, Green, and Chebby. She also said I wasn't Victoria's Secret, so they don't know why I was modeling and praising those with breast cancer. I was so confused. I do not even know who Chebby was, nor could I have violated HIPAA. I have never worked at a hospital, nor have I ever touched patient data. It was virtually impossible for me to violate someone's HIPAA. Also, I assume she overheard overheard me talking about the Stokes equation, which can derive Green's equation. Also, I assume she meant Kapushev polynomial, which was used in the theoretical background for our physics modeling projects. While I was cleared of all misunderstandings, the company still decided to let me go since too many girls were now uncomfortable with me and I was relatively new. Too long didn't read, worked in a research project on triple-negative breast cancer, got a job outside of science, met another engineer, talked about my senior thesis in breast cancer, got falsely accused of sexual harassment and HIPAA violation. Half these kind of stories make me angry frown. I am not going to say I'm smart or I'm the next Einstein. I'm literally just a kid with a bioengineering degree. I did help my pi play a part in contributing to the cancer research at large. The entire science community can help each other and together we can find the cure for cancer in enough time, brain power, and resources. The woman who reported me wasn't even a scientist. Think she had an administrative job at the company. She reported me and she didn't even know what she was talking about. In fact, her reports hurt the greater scientific community at large. Sounds like you encountered a bitch out in the wild. That's truly sad, but I hope you were able to recover and got a job soon after and doing well now. I did cry a lot after that incident. After leaving that consulting job, I was about to start a new job until the pandemic hit. She has job security in this pandemic since the company is still up and running and has contracts with the government. I wished she spoke with me or clarified instead of hastily spreading rumors about me. So did the girl get fired as well? Or at least punished? She tarnished your name. If she felt bad about what you said, BCS she was too stupid to understand what you were talking about. She should have reported you and left it at that while waiting for HR to do something. Nope, she went straight to gossip and she trashed your name. Honestly, females get away with a lot of shitty and petty behavior, and this is coming from a female. I am not sure. I left. What is ironic is that most of the females say inappropriate and unprofessional stuff such as the boys are disgusting and they are probably in the bathroom and throwing their J everywhere. One of the girls said that to me and another group of boys did not report her because it would have been my word against her. I just ignored it and never talked to her again. I literally never talked to any of these females since I was hanging out with the engineering group. Unfortunately, there was not much diversity in engineering, but at least all we talked about were science and math. Yet I got reported because she didn't understand what we were saying. People can get offended by anything if they want to. Even medical science, it seems. She didn't even know what she was talking about or reporting. Today I fucked up by putting my dildo on the shower screen. Today I fucked up about 3 days ago. I'm posting from a throwaway as I'm not out to my family and I'll often send my brother my own posts. For some background, I'm 21 cis male and I'm pansexual. I live with my best friend of nearly 15 years and his long-term girlfriend. We have a shared bathroom in which this takes place. Now the story: I've always been apprehensive about pleasuring myself via penetration but have experimented over the years. A few months back I got some toys for myself and I have masturbated whilst using my 7-inch dildo before in bed. After kinda wanting to try doing this for a hands-free orgasm, I decided after some encouragement from a hot guy I'd been chatting to on Grindr to do the ultimate FAP session. I douched, got my toy and lube ready and went outside to smoke a couple of blunts. I come back in, I grab my things and go into the bathroom higher than that space Tesla and I get into the shower. I try putting the dildo on the wall but it's uneven so doesn't stick and the tiles are too high. I'm a little too thick to put it on the bath floor and weight at all to ride it on the side of the bath comfortably, so I think long and hard and then stick it on the glass screen. I begin doing my thing and after about 5 to 10 minutes or maybe more, I was really high. I begin to feel this foreign feeling and realize I'm having the pleasure of the gods banging my shower door. It happens and it's glorious. I've never had to stop myself from moaning while pleasuring myself, but I had to and I'd never been so satisfied. I stood satisfied still with it inside me for a couple minutes, then move away and shower off. I get out the shower and get a little dry and then turn to get my plastic dong, only, it won't come off. No matter how hard I try it isn't coming off. it won't slide to the edge and I'm just pulling hard. I give up and think I may have to sneak and get a knife from the kitchen to try and pry it off. Before admitting defeat, I try one last thing and lubricate the edges of the dildo, and I pull the shaft hard for about 5 seconds and the glass pane shatters. The whole pane breaks into about 8 large pieces and some smaller bits, and I cut my foot on some. It wasn't too bad. My roommate and his girlfriend come running worried and I open the door. What happened? They asked me and I look at the dildo and the nearby bottle of lube. They see them and burst out laughing. They were cool and cleaned it up cause I was stoned, so in exchange for doing that for me I ordered us pizza. Aftermath: the next day I called the landlord to let him know the shower pane was broken but not how. He comes over a couple hours later and asks what happened. I try to make up a story but my friend lets out a loud aha and begins telling the story. I'm stood there red in the face and covering my eyes with shame, although thankfully his slight edge of anger turns to a fit of laughter that lasts 3 minutes or so. Once the landlord stops wheezing and I get him a glass of water, he offers to replace it and only charge me half, which I consider to be reasonable and accept. A handyman that is the landlord's brother came over to replace it today, and when he was done he said if there are any issues to call him and advised us not to have sex with it in the future. Too long didn't read. I used a dildo on a glass shower pane and I got off, but it didn't. The glass smashed and my roommate, his girlfriend, my landlord and his brother had a laugh out of it. Sounds like that situation was a pain in the ass. My roommate keeps snickering when we are in the same room and whispering haha, ass crack. Pro tip: never yank a suction cup toy, as you found out the hard way. Always try to break the seal around the edges of the suction cup. Use your fingernails or a flat object and slide it between the toy and surface. You have to get air in the space to make it release. Shut up, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. At least everyone was cool about it, otherwise embarrassing for sure though. What would you do to get half off? Landlord just loved the story, said he hadn't heard a funnier story from a tenant in nearly 15 years. I asked for the funniest but he said only if I paid for the full pane, and I'm too poor for that. I've just spent a lot on furniture as we move from this place next week. Edit grammar. NGL, your roommate and his GF sound awesome lamau. Today I fucked up by telling a lady she couldn't ride the slide. Mandatory. This happened years ago, but still haunts me to this day. To give you some backstory, I was a lifeguard at this fairly popular water park. There were a lot of slides that were somewhat dangerous, so we had a lot of rules for them. I was at the top of the slide where people get on their tubes. As a lifeguard I had to make sure you follow the rules, and one of the rules is you can't ride the slide if pregnant. You can probably see where this is going. Well, this one lady was skinny by nature but had a belly. I mean, she was skinny in the face, arms, legs, everywhere, but the belly. Well, following guidelines, I told her she can't ride the slide. Oh, and keep in mind she is in a double tube, with her husband sitting behind her. Anyways, they both look at me like I'm nuts. Then she butts in and says, "What? Why can't we?" And I politely say, "Sorry ma'am, but pregnant women can't ride this slide." The husband doesn't say anything but gives me this particular look like I have definitely fucked us both. Then I look at the massive line behind them, and they are all giving me this look. That's when I realized that I was fucked. She immediately says, "But I'm not pregnant." I got so red in the face, and all I could do was apologize. What made it even worse is the slide would only allow one tube at once, so there was a guard at the bottom who would give me a thumbs up when it was okay for the next tube. That was the longest 30 seconds of my life. I just had to sit there, awkward as hell, while everyone is obviously uncomfortable. I mean, the awkwardness was palpable. Anyways, that was my fuck up. And I'm pretty sure the husband hates me to this day. Too long didn't read. Told lady she couldn't ride the water slide because she was pregnant. Well, she wasn't pregnant. Asked a customer I was serving when she's due. She said, "What?" I said, I like your hairdo. Thank God it was loud and I was quick to recover, but I'm pretty sure she heard me the first time. If she heard the first time, your recovery probably makes her think she heard wrong. I feel like if I was the husband I would have laughed hard, but I'm sort of an asshole, so. If you see a woman in the maternity ward with an epidural and a nurse telling her to push, it is still a terrible idea to tell her she looks pregnant. True. But I did have women who wanted to go down and they were pregnant. I mean, it could quite literally kill the baby, so what should I do there? I don't know. I have relations who have been offered seats on trains for appearing pregnant, so it's easily done. You are just trying to do your job. Maybe the best way to ask is to package it up and say, do you have any health problems, back issues, pregnancy, as we can't let you ride if you do. People will lie about this and figure it can't actually be that bad. I'm already up here. If it were serious they'd stop me, and then your water park gets sued because she had a miscarriage after riding the vertical river. Better to say it one time when you shouldn't than not say it when you should.